All right, so today we're going to talk about the law of sines, which is going to be applied to non-right triangles. So these are triangles that have no right angle, and we're going to use them in these three situations where you're given angle, angle, side, angle, or side, side, angle. So this is the formula. It's on page 32. We're going to refer back to that as we do our problems for day 8. All right, so if you look at problem number 1, we're going to see what do we have. We have an angle, another angle, and a side. So this tells me I can use law of sines. Everything today is going to be law of sines, but eventually you're going to have to decide between law of sines and law of cosines, so I just figured I'd set that up. All right, so one thing you can remember back from geometry is that all three angles in a triangle add up to 180. So if you do 180 minus 105 and 37, you should be able to find your missing third angle. All right, so if you do that, you get 38 degrees. So that's angle B. So that answers one question already. All right, but we need to find all the missing sides and all the missing angles. So we're going to use law of sines. Now, the capital letters, these are all angles. The lowercase letters, these are all sides. So we're just going to set up our three fractions. All right, so sine of A, we have sine of 37 over side A, which is the one that's directly across from angle A, which is 24. Then we're going to keep going. Sine of 38 over, we don't know this, so that's called side B. Sine of C, which is sine of 105 over, we don't know that, that's side C. All right, so now how do we solve this? You're going to pick two fractions to cross multiply. So I'm just going to pick these first two fractions. And if you remember cross multiplying back from algebra, you just multiply this diagonal times this diagonal and set them equal to each other. So we have sine of 37 times B equals 24 times sine of 38. All right, so we need to get B by itself. How do you do that? These are multiplying, so to undo multiplication, we just divide. So these cancel out, and I get B equals, and then this is something I just typed directly into my calculator. 24 times sine 38 divided by sine of 37. And I get B to be 24.6. All right, so side B is 24.6. I'm just going to do exactly the same thing with C. This time I'm going to cover up this middle fraction, and I'm going to cross multiply this way. So I'm going to do sine of 37 times C and 24 times sine of 105. So I'm going to write that here. Sine of 37 times C equals 24 times sine of 105. All right, so now I just need to get C by itself, and to do that I just divide by sine of 37. So that cancels out here, and now I just need to use my calculator. So I'm going to do 24 times sine of 105. I could close the parentheses and then hit divide. Divided by sine of 37. Right, that gives me 38.5. Or if you want to, you could do sine of 24 times sine of 105, hit enter, and then divide by sine of 37, and then that's how you get your 38.5. All right, so at the very end, I'm just going to put in 38.5 here, 24.6 here. And there's a way to double check that if you did it right, the smallest angle should be across from the smallest side, the largest angle should be across from the largest side, and the middle angle should be across from the middle side. So if that all matches up, then you probably did it right. All right, we're just going to keep going. So number 2, we have angle, side, angle. So that's a situation where you can use law of sines again. So here we're going to use this formula. All right, I'm just going to set up everything I know. Since I already know 2 angles, let's just automatically find our third angle by subtracting from 180. So 180 minus 42 minus 26 gives us 112. All right, so now I'm going to set up my 3 fractions. Sine of 42 over, I don't know, side A. Sine of 26 over B, I don't know, side B. Sine of 112 over 8. All right, so when I cross multiply, I have to use the fraction that has the 2 numbers filled in, and then I'm just going to cross multiply. I'll just do B first. Okay, so b times sine of 112 equals 8 times sine of 26. And then to get b by itself, divide both sides by sine of 112. So that's gone. Now I just need my calculator. 8 times sine 26 divided by sine of 112. And I get b to be 3.8. All right, we also found angle C earlier. That's 112 degrees. All right, so I'm going to keep going. I'm going to cross multiply. This time I'm going to cover up my middle fraction. I'm going to cross multiply sine of 42 times 8 and a times sine of 112. So sine of 42 times 8 equals a times sine of 112. So I want to get a by itself, divide by sine of 112. Okay, and then take out your calculator. I'm doing sine of 42 times 8. Make sure, notice I closed my parentheses here. Then I'm going to divide by sine of 112. All right, so final answer for side A is 5.8. All right, so if I label my diagram with all my measures that I found, just double check, is the largest angle across from the largest side? Yep. Is the smallest angle across from the smallest side? So that works out. So we probably did it right. All right, number 3, we've got two sides and an angle. Now the angle's not in between the two sides, so it's side-side angle, not side-angle-side. All right, so I'm going to do sine of angle A. I don't know that. Over side A. I don't know that either. Then I've got sine of B, which is 62 degrees, over 18, and sine of C over 10. Now in this one, because we don't have two angles, we can't find the third one by subtracting from 180. So I'm going to cross multiply here. 10 times sine of 62 equals 18 times sine of C. I'm going to get sine of C by itself, so I'm going to divide by 18. All right, so if I do that, I've got sine of C is equal to 10 times sine 62 divided by 18. Now that's not my angle. This goes back to what we did the other day. Sine of C equals 0.49 ... So I want to do inverse sine. Anytime I want to find the angle, I want to do inverse sine of that number. So notice I just put in my answer. I got that by going to second negative sign. And that gives me angle C is 29.4 degrees. Okay, so now I'm going to fill that in my diagram, 29.4 degrees. And look, now I have two angles, so I could do 180 minus 62 minus 29.4. And I get this angle to be 88.6 degrees. All right, now that I know that, I'm going to put this back in my formula. So now I can cross multiply. If I want to cross multiply these two fractions, I'm going to move it over here. So I got a times sine of 62 equals 18 times sine of 88.6. All right, so now I'm going to divide both sides by sine of 62. All right, and then I'm going to use my calculator. So I'm going to do 18 times sine of 88.6 divided by sine of 62. Okay, so if I do all that, I get 20.4. All right, so that gives me my last missing side, so 20.4. All right, so double check. Here's my largest angle. That's my largest side. My smallest angle is the 29, and that's my smallest side. So everything sounds good. So I'm just going to fill in side A was 20.4. All right, last problem. They don't draw you a triangle, but you can draw the triangle yourself. So set up something with angles A, B, and C. Angle A is 105. Angle B is 12. Side B is 11. So we have angle, angle, side. All right, since we have two angles, now we know that we can just subtract from 180. So 180 minus 12 minus 105 gives us 63 degrees. All right, so right away we know our third angle. Now set up your three fractions. So sine of 105 over, we don't know side A, sine of 12 degrees over 11, and sine of 63 degrees over C. We don't know side C. All right, so let's just solve for A first. Okay, so we've got, we'll cross multiply. We got 11 times sine of 105 equals A times sine of 12. And since you want to get A by itself, you want to divide both sides by sine of 12. All right, so now you just type this in your calculator. 11 sine 105 divided by sine of 12. All right, so that gives me A to be 51.1. All right, and then last thing I need to cross multiply again. So I'm going to use these two fractions. So 11 times sine of 63 equals C times sine of 12. I want C by itself, so to undo the thing that's being multiplied next to it, you divide it and type that in your calculator. 11 sine of 63, close your parentheses, divided by sine of 12, and you get 47.1. All right, so if I just label that in my diagram, A is 51.1, C is 47.1. Here's my largest angle. There's my largest side, my smallest angle, and my smallest side. And then I'm all done.